Well, I think Boeing and NASA would not call it exactly stuck in space, but I have a model of the capsule here. So the Starliner has two parts. There's the capsule where the humans are, and that separates, and there's a heat shield and a parachute. So this part comes back to Earth and lands safely on the ground. The service module separates and burns up. And the service module has these four things. They call them dog houses. And there's a bunch of small rockets on these dog houses, and a few of those rockets failed during the docking. They've gotten 4 of the 5 failed ones back. There's 28 total, so they don't really anticipate any problems. There's also some helium tanks in here that leaked. They stopped the leak, so they don't anticipate any problems with that. But because this part of the spacecraft burns up, anything they're going to learn about it has to be learned while it's in space, attached to the space stations, because once they come back to Earth, they'll lose all the data. And what they really want to do, the real term here to think about is certification. This is a test mission, but Boeing wants it certified. It's kind of like passing your final exams. You can't graduate from high school and go to college until you're past your final exam. So this is kind of a final exam, and they want to stay on the space station, get as much data as they can so they can pass that final certification exam, if you will, so that the next mission can be operational, can bring crew to and from the space station, which is the real mission of this capsule.
Is this, if you treat it as an exam, is this a failure by Boeing?
No, I don't think so. Look, every capsule that we've ever flown has problems. There's always something that leaks or breaks, or a computer fails, or the electric thing shorts out. So I don't think this is a failure. If I was the Boeing CEO, this wouldn't be, it would make me happy. Boeing's been in the news for the last few years, you might have noticed.
Yep.
So and I think this is going to happen, this becomes a successful mission, it becomes certified, this can be a good story for Boeing. And look, let's face it, I'm a patriotic American. Boeing is one of our crown jewel companies. And when Boeing succeeds, that's good for America. So I really hope they get this done successfully and safely, because that'll just be a good thing for NASA and for America in general.
I want to talk about the crew of the Starliner. How dangerous this is for them. It sounds like they're stuck. Let's not use the word stuck. They're in a predicament. They're in a tough situation. It was supposed to be an 8-day trip. It's turned into 37 days in space. I've heard these reports about there's 100 pieces of a Russian satellite that might be headed towards them, and they had to, hunker down a bit. What kind of danger are they facing? Do they even have enough supplies to survive right now?
Well, there's a lot of questions there. I think the supply answer is the space station has a lot of food, there's a lot of oxygen, there's a lot of water. So I'm sure in the short term, that's not a problem. When I was actually in space on my last flight, we had an American capsule called Cygnus blow up, and then a Russian capsule called Progress blew up. And it's the same rocket that we launched people. Luckily, it was a cargo ship, but the same rocket that launched me into space blew up. And so they wanted to do a safety investigation before they launched our replacement crew. So they didn't want to send us back to Earth until our replacement crew got there. So I was in a similar situation. I was stuck in space. We were actually low on supplies. We were having to ration underwear and food and stuff like that. So for me, it was the time to just, look, I'm in space. I'm going to enjoy this time. I am sure that the space station astronauts are more than happy to have the Boeing astronauts there to do extra work. I know these guys they're getting put to work, and they're getting their money's worth out of them. So I think for them personally, it's some bonus time in space, and they'll wait to come back. I don't think they're worried about any type of danger other than having to come back from space in any capsule on any day. There's some risk associated with that.
What is it like for them to come back? Aside from the fact that you mentioned, it's interesting, being out in space, take it in, coming back, what are those dangers?
Yeah, so I had a chance I was a shuttle pilot, so I landed on a space shuttle, and that is kind of gentle. It's a slow descent. There's a big orange fireball outside the window. It's an amazing experience. And then we landed on a runway. So it's kind of like landing in a Southwest Airlines Boeing. Coming back in a capsule, I also flew in the Russian Soyuz. That was more like riding a bowling ball. The capsule, there was a giant fireball. The G levels were much higher. Landing on ground is like kind of driving into a telephone pole as you're driving through the neighborhood. My body was all bruised. So the Boeing capsule lands on land, not in the ocean.
Wow.
So it's an exciting ride. The night before, my crewmate who had done it, he said, he told me and Samantha, hey, it's going to feel like you're going to die, but don't worry, you're not going to die. So I'm glad he told us that, because it was a pretty exciting ride.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.